Good morning, student. Uh, Today is your sixth lecture for the petroleum refinery and petrochemicals. In the last class, we have discussed the lube oil parameters and the lube oil processings. What are the undesirable characteristics it has? Means the lube oil means undesirable characteristic means it include the high pour point, large viscosity changes with temperature, poor oxygen stability, poor color, high cloud points, high organic acidity, a high carbon and sludge forming tendency, etc. So these undesirable characteristics need to improve. Okay, so need to improve by some processes. So first process is used for the solvent deasphalting, which helps to reduce the carbon and sludge forming tendency, and then the solvent extraction and hydrocracking to improve the viscosity index, then solvent dewaxing and selective hydrocracking to lower cloud and pore points, then hydrotreating and the clay treating, which is used to improve the color and the oxygen stability, which also helps to lower the organic acidity. So these are the few process which helps to remove, to change the undesirable characteristics of the raw lube oil. Okay, so the process are the solvent asphalting, solvent extraction and the hydrocracking, solvent dewaxing or the selective hydrocracking, hydrotreating and the clay treatment process. Okay, so today we will discuss the propane deasphalting unit. So this solvent deasphalting process mainly is used to remove the asphaltings and resins, which is the heavier one, which is come out from the vacuum distillation unit. Okay, and which is required to reduce the metallic contents and coke and sludge forming tendency. Okay, so the purpose of the deasphalting is to remove asphaltings and resins. Okay, so this is required to reduce the metallic contents and coke and sludge forming tendencies, and for maximizing the fuel in fuel refinery when vacuum fraction is not suitable for lube oil production, the deasphalting is carried out to prepare feed for the subsequent conversion process. So for maximizing the fuel when the vacuum fraction is not suitable, when the vacuum fraction is not suitable for lube oil production, that deasphalting is carried out to prepare feed for the subsequent conversion processes. So it is always carried out for preparing lube oil stock. Now going to this high carbon residue and the metal contents of these asphaltings and the resin fractions, removal of asphaltings and resins reduces these contents in the feed for catalytic conversion unit. So owing to this high carbon residue and metal contents, means metal contents means of these asphaltings and the resin fraction, removal of asphaltings and the resins reduce this content in the feed of catalytic conversion unit. Now these catalysts in the catalytic conversion unit, the catalyst involved in this conversion process may be damaged and greatly deactivated in the presence of metals and the high carbon residue. Okay, so these high carbon and the metal contents need to remove by this propane deasphalting process, because if it is present in this uh, in the crude oil, then it will hamper or damage or deactivate the presence of metals and the high carbon residue. Okay, means whatever the catalyst present in that catalytic conversion unit, it get hampered or deactivated because of the presence of those impurities. So, and although several fouling of the process equipments may also be the reason. Now the removal of sulfur, metal and nitrogen from vacuum residue is usually less expensive by deasphalting than by the hydrotreating process. Okay, so this removal of sulfur metal nitrogen from a vacuum residue is usually less expensive by deasphalting than by hydrotreating. So the desulfurized demetallized residue may be used as a blending stock for the feed for hydrocracking and the catalytic cracking. So after removing the sulfur and the metals, whatever the residue we get, it may be used for blending stock for the feed for hydrocracking and the catalytic cracking process. Now these lube oil fractions, if any, can avoid deasphalting and directly treated in the solvent extraction. These light lube oil fractions can avoid deasphalting and directly treated in solvent extraction process. Okay, because light lube oil means which are having less asphaltenes and the resin content. So as it is having the less asphaltenes and the resin contents, so we can use it without any further treatment of deasphalting process, and we can use it directly for the solvent extraction. Then what is the structure of these asphaltenes and the resins? Now here some pictures has been shown for the asphaltenes. So these asphaltenes are nothing but n-heptane insoluble black or brown amorphous solids. Okay, so these asphaltenes are n-heptane insoluble black or brown amorphous solids containing, in addition to carbon and hydrogen and some portion of nitrogen, sulfur and oxygen are also attached with it. Okay, so mainly it is n-heptane insoluble black or brown amorphous solids. As it is hydrocarbon, it should contain carbon and hydrogen along with some nitrogen, sulfur and oxygen. So these asphaltenes are generally considered as highly polar and complex aromatic materials of fairly high molecular weight, and different methods for determining molecular weights have led to different values ranging widely from 600 to 300,000 depending on the separation technique employed. So based on their different molecular weight, different methods for determining the molecular weights have led to different value ranging widely from 600 to 300,000 depending on the separation technique employed. However, this majority of this test data indicates that the molecular weight of asphaltenes range from 1000 to 100,000. Okay, so majority of this test data indicates that the molecular weights of asphaltenes range from 1000 to 100,000. So they are believed to form micelles with hydrogen carbon atomic ratio of about 1.1 and a particle size of 5 nanometer to 30 nanometer, which is equivalent to molecular weight of approximately 20,000 to over 1 lakh. Okay, now these asphaltenes contents has a large effect on the rheological characteristics of bitumen. So it has a large effect on the rheological characteristics of bitumen. So increasing these asphaltene contents produce a harder, more viscous bitumen with a long penetration, higher softening point, and harder, more viscous bitumen with lower penetration, higher softening point of, and consequently higher viscosity. So having those parameters and the properties of these asphaltenes, it is mainly used for the construction of the road. Okay, so asphaltenes constitute 5 to 25% of the bitumen. Now now about for the resin. So these resins are soluble in n-heptane like asphaltenes. They are largely composed of hydrogen and carbon. So as this is the hydrocarbon components, the asphaltenes and resins both are having the carbon and contain small amounts of oxygen, sulfur and nitrogen. So these resins are dark brown in color, solid or semi-solid, and very polar in nature. So these particular characteristics makes them strongly adhesive. Okay, so these particular characteristics means means what are the constituents it has, and the means the character means it may be the solid or the semi solid and very polar in nature. So having these characteristics, it makes itself a strongly adhesive. Okay, so they are dispersing agents or the peptizers of the asphaltenes, and the proportion of resins to asphaltenes governs to a degree the solution or gelatinous type character of the bitumen. Okay, now resins separated from bitumens are found to have molecular weight ranging from 500 to 50,000, a particle size of 1 nanometer to 5 nanometer, and an hydrogen carbon atomic of 1.3 to 1.4. Now we have this propane deasphalting unit. Okay, so propane deasphalting unit, here we can see that there is a use of propane accumulator, some extraction tower, and then some another separation unit, stripper unit. Okay, so first, in the propane deasphalting, the lighter distillate feedstock for producing lubricating oil based stocks can be sent directly to the solvent extraction unit. Okay, but atmospheric and the vacuum steel bottom require deasphalting to remove the asphaltenes and the resins before undergoing solvent extraction. So in some cases, the high boiling distillate stream may also contain sufficient asphaltenes and resin to justify deasphalting. So means the lighter distillate feedstocks for producing the lubricating oil based stocks can send directly to the solvent extraction unit, but the atmospheric and the vacuum still bottom residue which are having the deasphalting part, it has to remove the asphaltenes and the resins before it goes to the solvent extraction unit. In some cases, the highest boiling distillate stream may also contain sufficient asphaltenes and resin to justify deasphalting. Okay. Now the propane is usually used as a solvent in the deasphalting, but it may also be used with ethane or butane. Okay, so in order to obtain the desired solvent properties. So propane has unusual solvent properties in that form 40 to 60 degree centigrade paraffins are very means these paraffins are very soluble in propane, but the solubility decreases with an increase in temperature until at the critical temperature of the propane all hydrocarbon become insoluble. Okay, now in this propane deasphalting unit, what we see that feed is mixed with a small amount of solvent to increase the fluidity of the feed. So feed is mixed with a small amount of solvent to increase the fluidity of the feed. So feedstock, here the feedstock is usually treated with 4 to 8 volumes of liquid propane. So here the feedstock is usually treated with 4 to 8 volumes of liquid propane, and whatever the extractor is used is mainly means used a baffle column or the rotating disc contactor type, baffle column type or the rotating disc contactor type. Okay, now whatever the extract phase contains from uh, 15 to 20% by weight of oil with the remainder solvent, the raffinate phase contain from 30 to 50% propane by volume. Okay, whatever the extract phase contain from 15 to 20% by weight of oil, The raffinate phase contains from 30 to 50% prepared by volume. So heavier the feedstock, the higher the ratio of the propane to oil required. So heavier the feedstock means higher the ratio of propane to oil required. Now, propane deasphalting tower is operated at pressure sufficiently high to maintain the solvent in the liquid phase. So propane deasphalting tower is operated at a pressure sufficiently higher to maintain the solvent in the liquid phase. So this is usually about 500 psig or the 3448 kilopascal. Next, the critical temperature of the propane. I mean, whatever the solvent we need to use for the propane deasphalting process. So critical temperature of that propane is 96.8 degrees centigrade. So the upper limit may have to be set below this temperature. Okay. So the upper limit may have to be set below this temperature. Means the gaseous cannot be liquefied above that critical temperature. Okay. So that the gases cannot be liquefied above critical temperature. So temperature is usually limited to 82 degrees centigrade. And the solvent to oil ratio is a function of feedstock properties and the required product specification. An increase in the solvent to oil ratio will help to increase the product quality. So increase in the solvent to oil ratio which helps to increase the product quality. Now, uh, what about the propane? Propane is usually used as a solvent, as I have mentioned earlier, that the propane is usually used as a solvent in deasphalting process, but it may also be used with ethane or butane in order to obtain desired solvent properties. Okay. Now, propane has unusual solvent properties in that form. 40 to 60 centigrade means from paraffins are very soluble in propane, but solubility decreases with the increase in temperature until at the critical temperature of the propane. Means what are the critical temperature of the propane? It is 96.8 degrees centigrade. For all hydrocarbons become solubles. So in the range of 100 to 206 degree Fahrenheit or 40 to 96.8 degree centigrade, the higher molecular weight asphaltenes and resins are largely insoluble in propane. Now, as the metal sulfur, nitrogen are generally concentrated in the larger molecules, the metal sulfur nitrogen content of the deasphalted oil is considerably reduced. So these asphaltenes may be burned to reduce energy, but due to fluidity problems, because it is the heavier ones, asphaltenes may be burned to produce energy, but due to fluidity problems and stack gas issues, means stack gas issues, which issues high cost for gas cleaning. I mean, whatever the gas is produced after burning the asphaltenes, it is it may cause huge amount of carbon contents. Okay, when it passes through any equipments, there is a formation of carbons. So as there is a formation of carbons, so we need to clean that particular equipment or the pipelines or the chimneys. So high cost is needed for that cleaning. So these asphaltenes means it's bound to produce energy, but due to fluidity problems and the stack gas issues, it is commonly used for road paving, waterproofing, and the insulation purpose. Okay, so these asphaltenes may be air treated to improve its properties. So these asphaltenes may be air treated to improve its properties. So residue oxidation or the asphalt blowing is carried out to increase the softening point by removing aromatics and polar aromatics. So generally this deasphalting process does the following parameters. First one, it decreases the asphaltenes and the resin contents, the deasphalting process. It decreases the asphaltenes and resin contents, and it also decreases the metal amounts. It also helps to decrease the carbon residue also. it also increase the pour point, increase API gravity, which decreases the specific gravity. It improve color, it decreases the aromatic content, it decrease the nitrogen and sulfur content, and it decrease the viscosity also. Okay, so generally this deasphalting process does the following things, which helps to get our desired product from the petroleum refinery. So what are the selection of the solvent for this liquid extraction? So as we know that the high solubility of the solute in the solvent is required. High solubility of the solute in the solvent is required, but low solubility or preferably immiscibility with the feed solvent. So that the solvent should not be reactive with the feed. The solvent should not be reactive with the with the feed, and phases could have high density differences, and whatever the phases should have high density differences. So solute and solvent should be economically separable. It should have high distribution coefficients. It should be stable and non-volatile under the conditions of the operations. Should have low cost, easy and regular availability, and no non-corrosive, non-toxic and environmental friendly. So these are the few points for the selection of solvent of liquid extraction process. Okay, so these are the characteristics of viscous various families in the lube oil stocks. Okay, so first one, we can see that there is a straight chain paraffins. The structure is given here, that the straight chain paraffins, which is favorable for the high viscosity index and unfavorable for high pour point. As it is having the straight chain paraffins, it is a very high viscosity index, which is favorable, and unfavorable is which are having the high pour point, and the branched paraffin and the paraffin with few rings. Okay, so paraffins with a very few rings, it has good to high viscosity and good resistance to oxidation, which is favorable. And next is the naphthenic part. The naphthenic part, it is the good resistance to oxidation and low power point it has, which is favorable, and the unfavorable is it has the low viscosity index. And similarly for the aromatics, it generally shows the low pour point, and the unfavorable thing is low viscosity index and very poor resistance to oxidation. So these are the few characteristics of various families of the lube oil stocks. Means where the some lube oils contain some straight chain paraffins, where some lube oil contains branch paraffins, or the paraffinic with few rings, with the lube oils with having the naphthenics part or the aromatic part. So each characters are having some favorable and the unfavorable conditions. Now these are the different types of hydrocarbons which are having the different viscosity index. So these are the families of the lube oil stocks. So first one is the for the normal paraffin or the N paraffin, which are having the viscosity index 175, and the isoparaffins are having 155, where the mononaphthalene having the viscosity index 142, and the dinaphthenes are having 70, and the aromatics are having 50 viscosity index. So as we see, the more the branching or the more having the aromatic or the ring compounds, it has the less viscosity index. Okay, so the straight chain paraffins or the normal paraffins having 175, then isoparaffins, then it helps to reduce the viscosity index up to 155. Then we have the mononaphthalene, it is 142. Then again we have the dinaphthalenes, which are having 70, and the aromatics are having 50 viscosity index. So the solvent extraction means, what is the purpose for this lube oil extraction? The purpose of this solvent extraction is to remove the aromatics from the lube oil fraction, and is going to and in doing so to improve the following parameters. So mainly the purpose of the solvent extraction is to remove the aromatics from the lube oil fractions. Okay, because as we have seen that the aromatic part which are having the lube oil, if the aromatic part is means greater, then the viscosity index will be smaller. Okay, so we need to remove the aromatics by using the solvent extraction from the lube oil fraction, and in doing so to improve the viscosity index, oxidation resistance, color, coke forming tendency and sludge forming tendency. So these are the following things we need to improve by the solvent extraction process by removing the aromatic contents. If we remove the aromatic contents, it helps to increase the viscosity index as well as the oxidation resistance, color, coke forming tendency, means it reduces the coke forming tendency, it reduces sludge forming tendency. Okay, now what are the solvents mainly commonly applied for the solvent extraction? These are the three solvents which is commonly used for the solvent extraction. First one is the furfural, second one is the phenol, and then is the NMP, which is normal methyl 2 pyridine. Okay, so furfural, phenol, N methyl 2 pyridine. Okay, in the short form it is NMP. So the solvent recovery system of that propane deasphalting process in the as in all solvent extraction process is much more complicated and costly to operate than in treating section. So two-stage flash system or the supercritical techniques are used to recover the propane. So whatever the propane is used as a solvent for the propane deasphalting process, it it can be recovered by two-stage flashing system or the supercritical techniques, okay, from the raffinate and the extract phase. So in that flash system, the first stages are operated at pressure high enough to condense the propane vapors with cooling water as the heat exchange medium. Okay, so first stage are operated at a pressure high enough to condense the propane vapors with cooling water as with heat exchange medium. And in the high pressure raffinate flash tower, foaming and asphalt entrainment can be a major problem. For the high pressure raffinate flash tower, high pressure raffinate, as there is a high pressure raffinate flash tower, so there is a tendency of foaming on the asphalt entrainment, which can be a major problem. So to minimize the flash tower, to minimize this entrainment and the foaming tendency, the flash tower need to operate at about 290 degrees centigrade to keep the asphalt and viscosity at reasonably low level. Okay, so here we can see that in this propane deasphalting unit, so here we can see one is used for the first stage, means the solvent recovery, means whatever the propane we have used for the propane deasphalting process, it need to recover. So two-stage flash systems or the supercritical techniques are used to recover the propane from raffinate and the extract phase. So in the flash system, the fast stages are operated at a pressure high enough to condense the propane vapors with cooling water. And in the high pressure raffinate flash tower, as there is a production of the high pressure, so there is a tendency of foaming and the asphalt entrainment, which can be a major problem. So to minimize this problem, the flash tower need to operate at 290 degrees centigrade to keep the asphalt viscosity at a reasonably low level. Okay, now the second stage strip, the second stage stripper is the second stage strip, the remaining propane, whatever the remaining propanes are there, it has to remove from the raffinate and the extract at near atmospheric pressure. So this propane is compressed and condensed before being returned to the propane accumulator drum. Before it so this the second stage strip that remain the propane from the raffinate and the extract. So this propane is compressed and condensed before being returned to the propane accumulator. Here you can see this, here the asphalt, here the asphalt flash tower, first one, this is the second one, asphalt flash tower, asphalt stripper. Okay, so next this propane deasphalting tower, which is need to operate it at a pressure sufficiently high to maintain the solvent in the liquid phase. So another thing, the propane deasphalting need to operate it at a pressure sufficiently high so that the solvent is in liquid phase, and this is usually near about that I have already mentioned, that 500 psig, and the asphalt recovered from the raffinate can be blended with other asphalts. Whatever the asphalts recovered from the raffinate can be blended with other asphalts into heavy fuels or used as a feed to the coking unit. Okay, and the heavy oil product from the vacuum residue, which is called bright stock. Okay, so the heavy oil product from vacuum residue, sometimes which is called the bright stock, so it is a high viscosity blending stock. It is a high viscosity blending stock. After further processing, it is used in the formulation of heavy duty lubricants for for the truck, automobile and aircraft services. Okay, so these high viscosity blending stocks, after further processing, and it is used for the formulation of heavy duty lubricants for truck, automobile and aircraft services. So these are the propane deasphalting unit. So typically this propane deasphalting units injects propane as a solvent into the bottom of the treater tower, and the vacuum tower bottom's feed enters near the top of the tower. Okay, so here this we can see that that the propane is inserted bottom of that treated tower, and the vacuum tower bottoms feed enter near the top of the tower. As this propane rises through the tower, as this propane rises through the tower, it dissolves the oil from the residuum and carries it out of the top of the tower. Okay, as it dissolves the oil from the residuum and carries it out of the top of the tower. So between the residuum feed point and and between this residuum feed point and the top of the tower, heating coil increase the temperature of the propane oil extract phase. So heating coil increase the temperature of the propane oil extract phase, thus reducing the solubility in the oil in the propane, and this cause some of the oil to be expelled from the extract phase, creating the reflux stream. So this reflux flows down the tower and increase the sharpness of separation between the oil and the residuum, and the asphaltines and the resin portions. So these asphaltines and the resin phase leaving the bottom of the tower is the raffinate. So the asphaltine and the resin phase leaving the bottom of the tower is the raffinate, and the propane oil mixture leaving the top is the extract. So extract phase is the propane oil mixture is the extract phase, and the asphaltine and the resin, the heavier part from the bottom, is the raffinate part. Okay, so thank you students for today's class. uh, from in the next class we will describe more about the solvent extraction process, means the another treatment process, which are the solvent dewaxing and the clay treatment process, why they needs to uh, they needs to operate it in the refinery, why the clay treatment, why the solvent dewaxing processes need to done in the refinery process. So today's class is for the propane deasphalting process. So what are the asphaltings, what are the resins, what are their compositions, why they need to remove from the crude oil, and what are the undesirable and the desirable things,